Okay, so in this video, we're going to categorize some of the graphs that have actually come up in the past in this series, and we're actually going to give them names. Now, we are talking today about Eulerian and Hamiltonian walks. Now, remember, a walk is really, it's really broad, so a cycle can be a walk, a path can be a walk, a trail can be a walk, okay? So just to clarify that. Now, we're going to start with the Eulerian trails. Now, a Eulerian trail is a trail that uses every edge of a graph exactly once, and starts and ends at different vertices. Now, these trails will only exist if the graph has exactly two vertices with an odd degree. If we can satisfy this criteria here, then our thing will be a Eulerian trail. Now, a Eulerian circuit, we know what circuits are from the past, but this is a circuit that uses every edge of the network exactly once, and it starts and ends at the same vertex. Now, these can only exist if every vertex of the graph has an even degree. So we're going to be referring back to these bits of criteria when we go through answering our examples. Now, saying in example 1 that for each of the following graphs, determine whether the graph has a Eulerian trail, a Eulerian circuit, or neither. So we're deciding whether it's this, or neither. Now, we're going to show one example as well on here. Now, before we determine any of these, we can just really easily refer to the aforementioned criteria. Now, part A, we're going to just look at the vertices. Now, you can see just by looking at them, each of these vertices, this one, this one, this one, this one, have an even degree. So they have a degree of 2. If all of them have an even degree, then we know it's going to be a Eulerian circuit. And just to show this, we're going to pick one vertex. I'll try this top one here, and I'm going to draw it. I'm going to pass through every edge of the network exactly once, and I'm starting and ending at the same vertex. So this is my start/finish vertex. Now, for part B, we are looking at this one. Now, we're always just going to start by counting the vertices. Now, for this one, we can see that this one has a degree of 2, this one has a degree of 3, this one has a degree of 3, this one has a degree of 2, and this one has a degree of 2. But if we're looking, this one with with a degree of 3 and this one with a degree of 3, that's exactly 2 vertices with an odd degree. So we can get a Eulerian trail on this network diagram. So that is a trail that uses every edge of the graph exactly once and starts and ends at different vertices. So let's try that. So we're using every edge of the graph exactly once, and we're going to start at and end at different vertices. So I'll start with this top one. So going here. Oh, let's try this again. I want to use every edge, and I want to start and finish at the same vertex. So just one moment. Here we go. Nice. So I've started and finished at a different vertex. So with these, it may take you a couple of goes. As you can see, I didn't get it right off the bat, but when we refer to these criteria, we know that it will exist, okay? So we need to, once we know that it exists, we will be able to find one. It may just take us one more go. Now, part C, we're going to count the degrees of the vertices. So this one over here has a degree of 3, this has a degree of 3, that has a degree of 3, this has a degree of 2, and this guy has a degree of 3. So we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices that have an odd degree. So our Eulerian trail needs exactly 2 with an odd degree, and our Eulerian circuit can have none with an odd degree. So we immediately know that this is neither. You can pause the video and play around with this, but you will be able to see if you draw this into your books, you will not be able to make a Eulerian trail or a Eulerian circuit. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about what we call Hamiltonian paths. Now, Hamiltonian path is a path that passes through every vertex of a graph once and only once. And a Hamiltonian cycle is a Hamiltonian path that starts and finishes at the same vertex. Now, there's no real little tricks to determine whether we'll have one of these. So we will have to actually look at it and draw it in. It's not as simple as our Eulerian trails and Eulerian circuits where we can just kind of pick one. But over here, we're going to look and see with part A, it's telling us to list a Hamiltonian path for the network that starts at A and finishes at D. So we want to get from A to D, and we just have to pass through every vertex of a graph once and only once. So we don't have to worry about all of the edges here. But I'm going to draw one in. You can pause the video and have a go on your own, but I'm going to go from A to B to G to F to E to H to C, then to D. So I have a path passing through every vertex of a graph once and only once. This part's important. So it passes through every vertex of a graph once and only once. Now, Hamiltonian cycle, we have a Hamiltonian path, so it has to hit every vertex, and it has to start and finish at the same vertex. So let's draw this in. Let's start at A. I'm going to draw all the way around, and I can pretty clearly see here, I've passed through all the vertices, so it is I've passed through every vertex once and only once, so it is a Hamiltonian path, and it's a cycle because it starts and finishes at the same vertex. So this is how we can work with these 4 different types of walks here. Now for the next video, we're going to apply this to a question. It's saying the graph opposite models the pathways linking 5 animal enclosures in a zoo to the kiosk and to each other. Now, the question, sometimes with these questions in exams, they will come across as a bit wordy and confusing, but we have to look at how we can unpack the key ideas of the question and then see what they're actually asking us. We can assume, because this video is on Eulerian and Hamiltonian walks, it will likely be something to do with that. Now, it's saying, explain why it is possible for the zoo's street sweeper to follow a route that enables its operator to start and finish at the kiosk, so it's starting and ending at the same vertex, without traveling down any pathways more than once. So we can see here that this is just a really kind of convoluted way to package a question that's asking us, is this a Eulerian circuit? We're using every edge of the network exactly once, and we're starting and ending at the same vertex. Now, the question is saying to explain why it's possible. Now, for a Eulerian circuit to exist, every single vertex must have an even degree. And we can see this just by looking at it. This one has 2, this has 4, this has 2, this has 4, 2, and 4. So it is possible to do this. Now, we want to start and finish at the kiosk, and we are going to list a route for the zoo's street sweeper. So getting my highlighter up here, let's just draw one. You can pause the video and try to draw one yourself, but if we go through here, I'm going to monkeys, gorillas, deer, elephants, gorillas, kiosk, elephants, seals, and back to the kiosk. So we're not traveling down a pathway more than once. Because remember, with a circuit, we can pass through the same vertices, but we can't pass through a vertex more than once. We can't pass through an edge more than once. So let's just look at the route we did. Let's just reset this. So we went from kiosk to monkeys. So we're going to write K to M. Now remember, when you're writing your routes and your walks, we use this notation. So we write dashes in between each of our vertices. So here we go to gorillas. Then we go to deer. So to D. Then we go to elephants. We go to E. Then we go back to the kiosk. Okay. Then we go to the gorillas. G. Then to the elephants again. Then to the seals. And then to the kiosk. So I have found a Eulerian cycle. A Eulerian circuit. So our graph uses every edge of the network exactly once, and it starts and ends at the same vertex. And this was only possible in part A because all of the vertices had an even degree. So I'm actually going to write that for part A here. It's possible because all vertices have an even degree. And there you have it. This is how we can work with our Eulerian trails, our Eulerian circuits, and our Hamiltonian paths and Hamiltonian cycles. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.